Alright, I'm back with another video. This time, um, we're tackling, well, this is another Hittite and Hurrian style video. I have a couple videos up from earlier that I hoped would garnish some attention from those who are interested in Hittite and Hurrian deities, religion, culture, polytheism, and this is a video that I'm making that's inspired by a comment that I just got from somebody. Wanting to know like the relations between the Mesopotamian, Babylonian, Assyrian, and the Hittite and Hurrian deities. Now, okay. Let me just start off by saying, now I've been researching this for a very long time, so definitely not nervous about making this type of video at all. I don't have to backtrack and look at a bunch of sources, and it won't take me a long time to get back to do this. But I do want to delve into it though, because it is important to go through for sure. There are definitely there's definitely a strong connection between some of the Hurrian deities and some of the Mesopotamian deities. The thing with the Hittite pantheon is that the pantheon itself is kind of it has deities from a wide variety of sources. There's Hurrian deities in the pantheon. There's native Anatolian deities in the pantheon. That's kind of, and there's Syrian deities in the pantheon, like old ancient Syrian deities, and there's Mesopotamian as well, ones that originate from there or are closely associated with there, especially in the New Kingdom, late Bronze Age Hittite Empire. The Hurrian deities really took precedence over the old Hittite deity. Well, it's more noticeable. Like I think they, like, the older deities definitely survived and were very popular. Like that didn't change, but the Hurrian deities became a lot more popular and important within the Hittite Empire. So you'll see a lot of that there. That's why we say Hurro-Hittite, because in the late kingdom, the Hurrian pantheon became the royal pantheon of the Hittite Empire. And there was a lot of strong, how do I put this? I guess synchronizing. Is that what do you call it? Like syncretizing between like Hittite and Hurrian deities. That was going on. And other Anatolian deities, but that's been, all the while they still kind of kept their, you still can tell, they didn't syncretize completely. Like it wasn't like a complete like I want to say okay, let me give an example. Teshub and Tarhuntus. Tarhuntus is the old Hittite and Luwian storm deity. Tarhunt or Tarhuntus, Tarhun, different names there. Hattic as well, the storm deity there. They're all closely related. So Teshub is the Hurrian storm deity. Now, this is see, there's strong associations also with Syrian deities when it comes to the Hurrian pantheon. Teshub is associated with Adad as well, or Adu, or an earlier like Amorite Syrian religion, or Hadu, and Belu. I'm going by the original names for the deities. The Ugaritic Belu, he's similar to him as well. Not the same though. Even in the Bronze Age, they're not the same deity. They're just very similar. They're just very similar. They become more associated with each other though later on, after the Bronze Age, I would say. But the Hurrians and the Amorites, let's say before the Aramaeans, so the Amorites were pretty closely related deity-wise. Like, for the Amorites, I'm talking about Dagon, Adu, the storm god. They had their Ishtar. They had their own Ishtar deities. They did share some deities with the Hurrians as well. Like, the names are just slightly different. Now, I'm not saying that they're closely related cultures, but they're definitely associated with each other, and they have some strong connections. Now, let's get back to the Hurrian Hittite connection. So Teshub and Tarhuntus became closely associated with each other once the Hurrians deities gained enough ground within the Hittite culture and empire. Like I said, the Hittite royalty really liked the Hurrian deities, and there was definitely a process of syncretization, where Tarhuntus and Teshub are being more or less equated with each other. Of course, that's the high god of the Hittites and Hurrians. That's the king of the gods. Just like you got Zeus with the Greeks, Jupiter with the Romans. Think of it sort of like that, I guess. I mean, it's a rough understanding of it. His position, his high position within the pantheons. And of course, there's a close association between Kumarbi and Dagon. So there's the Syrian connection there. There's no equivalent with native Hittite there with the Kumarbi deity. But see, the thing is, the storm god, the Hittite storm god, he's like associated with the growing of vegetation, grain, vineyards, the grain fields, and that's what Kumarbi is. Kumarbi is probably an old storm god himself. Kumarbi and Dagon probably are, but they're mostly associated with like grain fields. So they are old vegetation deities, and they were very important to those ancient times. Very important. But they are always like an older. So, all right. Kumarbi is a lot like the I'll get into the Mesopotamian ones here. Kumarbi is a lot like the Mesopotamian Enlil, the god, the Sumerian, the Mesopotamian Elil. He's a lot like that. The Mesopotamian god Elil. On the same order. On the same order. Of course, Kumarbi is Hurrian. It became Hittite later on, but Kumarbi is a Hurrian god. Of course, the equivalent with Teshub would be Adad, the Mesopotamian god Adad, and then the Syrian god Hadad or Hadu or Adu. There's definitely similarities there. Of course, Adad was not as high up as Teshub was, usually. In some places, though, Adad was very important, pretty high up in the pantheon. Just depended on the area, like the city, the town. I'm just talking about like in general, like just generalizing the ranks and positions of the pantheon. Kumarbi, definitely similar to Dagon. There's definitely a close relation there between the two deities, and also to Enlil or Elil, more or less the same deity there, of Mesopotamia. But the funny thing is, Elil also figures in Hurrian mythology, so there's that too. So they're not, completely they're not like completely syncretized there in the mythology. But in deity lists, when the ancients compared the deities, Kumarbi was often associated with both Dagon and Enlil. So there you go. Whereas Enlil is like a father deity, Kumarbi is a father deity, Dagon is a father deity. I don't know if Kumarbi is associated with El or Elu of Ugarit. I have to look back into that one. But that could be more like... So Anu, the sky god Anu, definitely from... shared by the Hurrians and the Mesopotamians. He's the god of the starry heavens. Just an elder father deity. He's shared by both the Hurrians and the Mesopotamians. So yeah, you have Ea or Enki in the Hurrian pantheon as well. Ea's there under a slightly different name, Aya, I believe, or Aya. So he's there, Ea, Elil, Anu, all shared between the Hurrians and Mesopotamians. The only difference would be like, well, there's mythological differences, surely. Like Elil is an elder, powerful elder deity, but he's no longer like one of the important deities in the Hurrian pantheon. It's certain deities take precedence over the Mesopotamian deities. Ea, though, is still very important for sure. He's like the wise deity. Now there's no reference to his associations with water, but it's got to still be the same. The same. He should still have the same. Like powers and domain as he does in Mesopotamia, I would think. Of course, we have Shaushka, the Hurrian Ishtar. She's also called the Ishtar of Nineveh. So, I mean, the Hurrians themselves are equating their Ishtar, their version of Ishtar, their Hurrian Ishtar, Shaushka, with the Assyrian Ishtar of Nineveh, the Assyrian goddess. So, and she's the same type of, she's the same, roughly the same type of deity as Ishtar. Um, she's like, and she's associated with like, well, there's not too much warfare characteristics of her in the mythology. She's more of like a how do I describe this? First of all, she's the sister of Teshub, so she's like the most important goddess of the Hurrians, other than like Hebat, the consort of Teshub. Um, and whether Hebat is related to the goddess Shala, um, so Shala seems to be the consort of Kumarbi, actually, in the Hurrian pantheon. The old grain goddess Shala. Sometimes she's the consort of Dagon, and sometimes she's the consort of Adad, the Mesopotamian storm god Adad. So, not among the Hurrians though. So Hebat is a different type of goddess then. I think she seems to be like more of like a fertility goddess, maybe. Um, but back to Shaushka, the Hurrian Ishtar. Um, she's definitely got those characteristics of like fertility and lust and love, and definitely that type of goddess for sure. Um, she probably has warrior characteristics too. The Assyrian Ishtars did. So, she has her attendants, Ninata and Kulita. They're her like divine attendants and escorts. So there's that. Got the sun and moon god. Kuzu is the lunar god. Shemegi is the sun god of the Hurrians. They are definitely similar to Nana, Suen or Sin, the moon god, and of course Shamash, the Mesopotamian sun god. Definitely similar to those. They're attendants of Teshub. They're his allies. They're never above him. So Teshub is more important is the more important deity, but obviously the sun and moon deities are very important. They're always figured high in the deity lists and the processions. Like whenever you see the parades of deities, the sun, the moon, and the sun god are pretty high up there. They're like right behind Kumarbi and Ea. We're all, obviously they're really important deities then, since they're ahead. So Kumarbi's like right, he's like way up there on the deity lists. So he's still very important, even though he's like one of the elder deities. But I mean, so is Ea too. So Elil and Anu are further back with the processions, but they're elder deities. Like I said, I mean, Elil and Kumarbi are kept separate in the mythology. But other than that, Kumarbi and Elil are very similar. And Anu, like I said, Anu is there. Then there's a deity that's older than him, Alalu. He's like considered like the very first king of the gods. Then after Alalu came Anu, and then Kumarbi, and of course presently it would be Teshub still. Basically the older king of the gods was like ousted by the younger god that became the king each time. But Anu of course, supports Teshub, whereas Kumarbi like goes against Teshub in the mythology. Um, Hittite mythology, like Anatolian style Hittite mythology, is different. It's not it's not related to the Hurrian mythology. Completely different religions here and pantheons. But I wanted to make a video because the comment I got, shout out to the commenter. I wanted to make a video on the relations between the Mesopotamian and Hurrian deities, so I wanted to go over them a little. I wanted to go over them some. Um, Hopefully, I'm not senselessly rambling on um, and being irrelevant here. So let me look at. Um, so do I believe that they are mostly the same deities, the Hittite, the Hurrian, the Hurro-Hittite deities, under different names? No. I believe that some of them are, because the other deities, some of the deities are originate from Mesopotamia. The other ones do not. The other ones originate from like old like Syria and like Ashtabi, the warrior god, and um, like I would say half of the pantheon is, I would say like Syro-Hurrian, I would say. Um, I'll call it Syro-Hurrian. Syrian, Hurrian, like half of the pantheon originates with the Hurrians and related and nearby Syrian areas. The other half, I would say, I would say, um, is Mesopotamian in origin, but it's like, um, how do I describe this? Like, it's not exactly the same, as I guess what I'm trying to say. Um, like they're not just simply, um, the roles are a little bit different. The functions might be a little bit different. Um, I don't think that they're just simply Mesopotamian deities under different, like under Hurrian and Hittite names. No, no. Some of them clearly are the same, like shared deities from Mesopotamia. Others are not. Others, I think, the ones especially with Hurrian names are genuine, like just genuine Hurrian deities, maybe heavily that were also heavily influenced by Mesopotamian deities as well and associated with them. Um, let's see what else I can say here about this. Um, Different aspects. Um, Hopefully, I'm doing this clearly for you. I It's been a while since I talked about all this with others, with other polytheists, but I'll get into the groove of it here soon. I'm sure I'll get back into talking a little more clearly. um, but hopefully, I sound I sound clear enough about all this. Sometimes I can ramble on. Um, it's not exactly what I wanted to do, but let me see. Okay, so yeah, I would say it's like the Hurrian deities shared some of the Mesopotamian deities, and the other deities are more like Hurro-Syrian or Syro-Hurrian related, with some strong Mesopotamian influences for sure. Especially since you got Shahushka and Ishtar strongly associated with each other. Shemegi and Shamash, Kuzu and Sin. There's strong associations there, obviously, but there's also some differences. Um, I'm willing to go as deep as we can here into all of this. Like I've always been fascinated with that too. So, um, Kumarbi, definitely similarities with Dagon and Elil or Enlil. Ea is Enki is definitely similar to like the Mesopotamian Ea and Enki. Of course, more so with the Mesopotamian Ea, the Babylonian Ea. Um, um, let's see who else though. Now Ashtabi. Ashtabi is the Hurrian war god. He has a strong connection somehow to the Ugaritic Ashtar, like the old Syrian god Ashtar. Now, whether he's also related to the planet Venus, I'm not sure. Ashtar is though in Ugarit. Ashtabi might also be. His mythology is very similar to Ashtar's. We can get into that in another video, but there's some similarities there. Shaushka has a connection in Ugarit to Atartu, or the goddess that became Astarte, Astart, different names of much the same deity there. There's a strong relation there between those two. Of course, you got Teshub is associated with Baalu there, Baal, Hadad. Um, Teshub and Adad, and the Mesopotamian Adad are associated with each other. I don't know who Hebat was associated with when it comes to Mesopotamian deities, but Pedrea or Pedre of the Ugaritic pantheon, she was associated with her. It's like a minor weather goddess, and was a daughter of Baal, I think. I think it was a daughter, one of his daughters, divine daughters. Oh, there's the Hurrian goddesses Houdina and Hoodalura. They're like fate and fertility goddesses. Like they're associated. Well, of course they're associated with the Hittite Gulsis, the fate goddesses there. But they're also associated with the there's a Ugaritic group of goddesses that they're associated with too. They're daughters of they're called daughters of the crescent moon in mythology, but we don't know for sure if they're actually the daughters of Yarrick, the Ugaritic moon deity, or not. Forgot what they were called. Starts with a K. But yeah, Houdina and Hoodalura, those are other Hurrian goddesses. I'm not sure who they would be equated with in Mesopotamia. But they're I don't know where I got a book with the deity lists and their their Mesopotamian equivalents, their Ugaritic equivalents. I got it here somewhere. I just can't. I just misplaced it. I should have had that on hand, but thought I'd do this video for sure. Even though I couldn't find it. So Ashtabi, so he's associated with Ashtar. Names are similar. The deity goes back to old Syria. Now he is associated with, well, Ebla, the old city, Syrian city of Ebla, is what I was getting at there. He's just that's a very old city. Of course, you have Mesopotamian influence there too, though, huh? Even going back that far. But there are old Syrian deities that just like originated there. Old like Hurrian and Syrian deities that are simply Hurrian and Syrian deities and aren't heavily related to the Mesopotamian deities, is what I'm trying to say. So, like I said, about half the pantheon is old Hurro-Syrian, like Hurrian and Syrian deities, like Aboriginal Hurrian Syrian deities, and the other half is more heavily influenced from Mesopotamia. That's my take on it. So Ninurta, the Mesopotamian god Ninurta, he will be associated with Ashtabi in lists. So there is that, though. But I think that's just because similar function. So Ashtar, Ashtabi, and Ninurta are all associated with each other in the deity lists when they're listing the old deity lists. When they're listing the different deities of the pantheons, they'll relate each one to each other based on, the similarity in rank and things like that. So, I mean, that's very helpful. Who else am I forgetting? Nubadig. The Hurrian god Nubadig does not figure in the surviving mythology that I can find. He's related, though, like his strong associations with other deities would be Reshef, because they share the same cult city from Bibita. That's interesting. Bibita, I think, is an Anatolian city. Not exactly sure where that is. And let me see here. He also seems to be related to Nergal somehow. The Mesopotamian god, the Babylonian god Nergal. But we don't know exactly. We just don't know much further. Nubadig seems to be like a warrior style deity, though. But he doesn't figure in the mythology that I can find. I've tried to find like anything, even just a little snippet of something about Nubadig in the mythology. But he does figure prominently in Hurrian deity lists, and he's in Hurro-Ugaritic lists too. I think he's associated with the bow, maybe gazelles too, just like Reshef. So there's definitely an association there. Now, whether there's a close association with Nergal for real, I don't know. But there's something. There's something there. Who else are we forgetting here? Let's see. The Hurrians and Hittites both had a sea god, a male sea god. He figures prominently in the Hurrian mythology, actually. So, I don't know who he would equate to with the Mesopotamian. I think with this, that's more the Aruna is the Hittite and Luwian name for him. The Hurrian deity does have his own name. I forget the name, though. I believe it starts with an E. believe it might start with an E. There's also an Earth goddess, like an actual Hurrian Earth goddess. It's not a Hittite deity. She has her own name, which I forget. I'm forgetting. There could be Mesopotamian equivalents to these two, both of these two. It's possible. I'm not sure if we've found an equivalent to Ninhursag yet. Like Nintu, the mother goddess from Mesopotamia. As I said, like Hudalira and Houdina are like fate and mother goddesses. They might equate to deities like Ninhursag and Nintu and Ninma. That might be, Then there's Gula or Bao, the health goddess from Mesopotamia. There may be an equivalent with her somewhere, but I'm not remembering anything right now of that. But there might be. Once I take a look at the lists again, I might find something with that too. And let's see, who did we forget here? Now the Hittite and Luwian like stag deities, like the like Runtia, Karunta, those are more Anatolian style deities, but there's been some talk that maybe Nubadig is a deity like that, but like a hunter type deity like that, but just because he's called the god of the bow and of the gazelles, but so is Reshef, so it's possible that Nubadig has like a hunter character to him. That's very possible. But it's just not clear. It's not clear. Then of course there's Kubaba and Karhua, this old Syrian, Hurro-Syrian deities from Carchemish. Karhua is a warrior deity that carries a bow too. Maybe Nubadig is like the Hurrian version of Karhua. I don't know, but Karhua is in the mythology under just the Lama, which means the tutelary or protective god deity. There's all different kinds of Lama deities though, and of course that name goes back to Mesopotamia. Lama is a well-known, it means protective deity. There's like a protective attendant deities. A lot of them are female. There's the Lamasu. Aren't those the like sort of like genie, like half bull and half man, protective attendant deities? Are those called Lamasu and like Shedu or Sedu, things like that? So even that name that the Hittites borrowed from the Mesopotamians for sure, but seen in a different way. Like Lama deities in the Hittite pantheon are a little different. They're more like, well, you know what? Actually, the Lama deities are so varied. Like, there's all different kinds of Lama deities. When we think of the Lama deities from the Hittite Empire, we're usually thinking of like the hunter style deities, like the deities of the countryside. But there's all different kinds. There's like protective deities of the doorway, of the courtyards, of the home. Like there's all different kinds. So just because you see a Lama deity in like a Hittite document or text doesn't mean that they're referring to the protective god of the hunter god of the countryside, or of the meadow. There's all different kinds. Some of them are heavily related to each other. Some of them are not. But they're not all the same deity. Like the deity of the countryside isn't the same deity as the god of the doorway. They're different. So, Maybe some people were confused about that, so I just decided to mention that. Now there's different llama deities, just like there are in Mesopotamia. There's different llama deities, but the ones I think of the most over there are like those female attendant deities and like the sort of mythological creature, half human, half creature type deities, like the half bull, half man, or like half lion, half man. Griffin, the griffin ones, the half man, half griffin ones. Let's see. Are we forgetting something? I don't know. I didn't realize I was 40 minutes in here. So I hope I answered your questions a little bit here. I know there's a lot to go over. These are just my thoughts on this. And I will end it here for now. But of course, we can deep dive and go further into this as much as we want to. I don't mind that at all. The reason I'm making these videos is to get people talking about these things and to get them interested in Hittite and Hurrian and Luwian and related cultures, discussions. Mesopotamian and Canaanite, Amorite and Aramaean they're all fair game here. So I don't mind talking about any of them. I've always been heavily interested and invested in all of these cultures. I did want to mention that. Sumerian, Babylonian, Assyrian, all of that. So yeah, I mean, before I found out about the Hittites and Hurrians, I found out about ancient Ugarit, ancient Sumer, ancient Babylonia, Assyria. I found out about all those first. And then I found out about the Hittites, the Hurrians, the Luwians, the ancient Arabs, the Aramaeans, the Amorites, a whole bunch of the Phoenicians, the Carthaginians, the Punic culture, and the Phoenician culture. That's all interesting too. And then we go to like ancient Hatra, ancient Palmyra, Dura Europus. Like there's a lot of different ancient Near Eastern culture and religion to go over and invest in here. All distinct and interesting, all on their own accord. So I will end it there. I hope I tackled your questions somewhat well. I know I might have been a little all over the place, but hopefully I did okay. So, and I'll be back with more related content in the near future. Thank you for watching.